I told you that by the end of this video, these hills were going to be transformed into the coziest hobbit hole, complete with farms, several quaint little homes, and even a mysterious surprise build. Grab your second breakfast and let's go. So we have a couple things we need to do before we can dive into transforming those hills, starting by getting some tools. Alright, we've got our wood, let's turn that into planks, let's make a crafting table, some sticks, and get ourselves a wooden pickaxe. Then I see a couple pieces of stone poking out right here, so let's just grab that, and then we can finish off the rest of our tools and get sorted with everything else that we need. Oh, okay, Millie wants to help apparently. Alright, tools are all sorted, and good thing this is a plains biome because that means there are a bunch of sheep hanging around which we're gonna grab some food and a bed from. I say a bunch of sheep, but there was only one. Oh, that's a sheep. Okay, let's go grab that one. And this should be our final sheep for our bed. Why is the wool brown for that one? I do not know, but let's grab a few of these dandelions here so that we can dye all of the wool to be the same color and make a bed. Alright, that's our bed sorted. Now let's make ourselves a furnace so we can put this mutton on to cook, and then we'll sort out a little bit more food before we head out for some more materials. And what I'm actually going to do is create a watering can. Why? Oh wait, I need to make the bucket first. That's not a bucket. That's not a bucket. There we go. And we've turned our bucket into a watering can. So I'm just going to run around now and punch a bunch of grass so we can get a couple wheat seeds, and then we can go ahead and get ourselves a lot of wheat. Oh, what's this? Oh, that is cabbage seeds. I don't really want those, but they do look very cute in their wild form. Okay, it seems like I'm just getting rice grains, so I'm just going to use my single wheat seeds and just watering can them to get more. It's a good thing we did this too, because I've got a feeling we're going to run out of mutton before we even head out for more materials. But let's get all of this land here tilled. Then let's plant our single wheat seed, do our watering can, grab some wheat, and then we just have infinite wheat seeds. Lastly, I'm going to finish off setting up our home base here and place a few chests. And then let's craft this wheat into some bread. And we should be good to go as soon as the new day comes. I knew I needed tools and armor sooner than later. And then once that was sorted, I bone mealed some azaleas in a lush cave for their leaves, picked up some gravel, and dirt for coarse dirt, and clay for flower pots. Heading back above ground, I picked up some oak, spruce, wheat seeds, wool, wax, and hay bales from a village. Lastly, I gathered gravel and sand for concrete, green dye, and sandstone. The cool thing about hobbit holes is that they're underground. I mean, well, that's obvious, but it also makes building these super fun because we don't actually have to build up at any point at all. But first, we do have to dig it out. I'm glad I got a bunch of extra iron for this, but we're definitely going to need to upgrade our tools to diamonds on the next resource collection. Also, the idea here is that I'm going to do the whole perimeter of where I want to dig out, and then we can get to work on the big bulk of the middle. So, it seems like I may have miscounted because these two lines here were meant to line up. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I found the mistake. That's pretty easy though. We can just take out this wall right here, and then we're just gonna have to make the adjustments to the back piece here. That just needs to come back a block. All right, that is all fixed up. You can't really see what I've done here, but let's get to work on getting this thing completely dug out. And I've just remembered that even when I dig out this whole middle bit, I've still got to dig upwards too, just to make sure we've got enough space to actually walk around and whatnot. This is gonna take a while. Alright, that's probably enough space, right? I hope so. Let's get ourselves up to bed, then we can work on the fun stuff tomorrow. The plan today is to get this last little bit of digging done, and then we can do all of the framing for the walls and probably the floor too. The space is still big enough, but we do need to dig down one level into the floor just so that we have enough space to add a floor of our own. Okay, perfect. Since the floor is done for now, let's jump into building this entrance. And since we're doing a proper hobbit hole, the circular door is non-negotiable. We're going cozy, welcoming, and just a little bit whimsical. Okay, that looks pretty good. We're gonna leave it there for now and get to work on the inside here. So I think it's gonna be a good idea to add in a bunch of posts. That way we know what we're doing when we do the walls. And it also helps with sectioning off the rooms. And as suspected, I am gonna have to dig down again to add in some floors. We definitely don't want a stone or dirt floor in here because we are hobbits, not trolls. I'm also just leaving this little line of stone all the way around the edge because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna cover it up with walls tomorrow anyway. Oh, I say as I get rid of a piece. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna need another pickaxe. Millie, are you good? You look like you're in stocks right now. Is that what those things are called? You guys know what I mean, right? All right, we are all dug out. Let's get this thing filled back in with spruce planks. So now we can get in here to A, cover up all of the stone, and B, separate all of our rooms. So I'm gonna run around and do these nice little sort of paneling blocks all the way along these bits here. Oh, and all the way along these bits here. Oh, okay, I should probably leave that bit open so that we can actually get in and out. And the same, oh wait, never mind. Not the same with that bit because that is just quite literally the wall. Okay, how are we looking? Very dark. I kind of wish this hole was facing the other way so that when it's daytime, the sun was coming in. But never mind, we can't change that. For these walls here, I'm gonna do a little mix of green concrete and green wool. And this kind of wool is from the chipped mod. That's how it has a different texture to normal wool. And the chipped mod is just our saving grace in every build ever. If you're a builder, I would say that the chipped mod is one that you absolutely need. I think to make this work, we're going to have to add in another post right here because I want to add in another little circle entrance to this room. Hopefully this space is big enough. Now in here, I want to make sure we have a good amount of contrast. So I'm going to just use sandstone for these and also mix in some smooth sandstone as well. So there's a little bit of texture going on. Okay, with both sides filled in, let's add in our little circle entrances to those rooms. So we're just going to use stairs on each of the corners here and then add in a trapdoor in each of the gaps. And it should make it look a little bit more circular. Just like that. So let's do the same on the other side. And we should be good. I probably should have made these side rooms just a little bit bigger. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to put in these yet, but we'll figure it out. What I might do is wall off this back area here and kind of create another little entrance thingamabob, but we'll deal with that later. Right now we got to get the rest of this stone and dirt covered, so I'm just going to use one of these chipped blocks here to do that. I always find it really weird building upwards like this because it feels like I'm stood on the ceiling looking down and building a floor, if that makes any sense at all. Kind of makes me feel a little bit wheezy, to be honest. It feels so strange. Also, this might sound really weird, but I feel this way when I'm at the dentist too. Like when I'm laid back in the chair, I feel like I'm on the ceiling looking down at the floor. I don't know why. It's such a strange feeling, but it happens. Oh, well, I guess my torch is just gone forever. Where did that even go? Oh, it's right there. Thank you. I would like to be able to see whilst I'm doing this. Okay, so the details that we're going to be able to add on the outside are kind of limited because we realistically only have one face to decorate. But that means that we can really lock in on making these look as cute as possible, and it also won't take us too long. Okay, I wanted to put something above the window here, but I feel like I'm going to have to put it here, which blocks the window slightly. It's not the end of the world, but it's not exactly where I wanted to put it. Anyways, let's add a little bit of detailing around the door here. And can we do anything else here? I feel like no. Oh, that's not it. Done. Don't worry. But just around this part. Oh, actually, I know what I need to do. I need to cover up this hole by adding in some upside down stairs. Let's do it like this. And get rid of these blocks here so we can make it the stairs so everything is nice and cohesive. Okay, I think we're gonna have to bring that down a level. There we go, that looks much better. Now we pretty much just need to hang this lantern right there and absolutely cover this thing in leaves. So of course I love covering my builds in leaves anyways, but this is a really good way to just cover up all of this extra stuff we've got going on so nobody ever knows that we've built here, other than there being a random huge pile of leaves. But you never know, this could be natural. I'd say we are looking pretty good, and we have plenty of time to prepare for our interiors for tomorrow. The interiors here should be pretty standard, but I do think I'm going to try and make them a little bit more cluttered than usual because that really feels like it's keeping with the Hobbit spirit. I think for the cluttered look, flower boxes are also going to be our best friend here just because they cover the walls really nicely. Let me place a parapet there. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying that correctly, but these will act as nice little shelves. Let's do a big pot there and a smaller pot here. Then let's grab our hammer and make sure all of these are bookshelves. Now, do I want to put the sapling in this one or this one? Oh, never mind. Okay, this one. It won't go in that one. And I think to have that more cluttered look, I'm going to add a cornflower there instead of keeping it symmetrical. Oh, and I almost forgot I have some book stacks. Let's go for those. Let's add in a little rug around the bed. And then let's add another lamp and a little picture frame on this shelf. And I think we're good for the bedroom here. Then in this room, I want to go for a kind of crafting / storage room. So I'm just going to bring these drawers all the way around the corners here. And then I'm going to add in my 2 chipped mod benches. Let me get rid of this. Okay, actually, I don't want them to be touching, so I'm going to get rid of this one too. Now let's add in our table here and the other table here, and then we'll do a little double drawer moment in the middle. And if we use our hammer, we can turn that into something else just to make it look a little bit more interesting. Then up along the top here, I want to do some of these furnaces, and I'm going to add some of these underneath so it looks like they're nice and supported. Then in these corners, not those, I want to add some shelving. So let's do just a line of those on either side and make sure that those are turned into something other than an empty shelf. Then I'm just going to put in some flower boxes right here just to make it look a little bit more cluttered somehow, and also a little stool which will probably get in the way, but it looks cute. I did opt to wall off this area here so that we can have a separate living room, so let's tackle that next. Just cutting out a little hole in the wall here because I am going to do a fireplace, but I'm also going to cut out some of the floor so we can have a nice little rug area. Hopefully my pickaxe makes it through these few blocks. Oh, perfect. So now let's fill in this floor right here with this yellow block. Very, very lovely. Again, from the chipped mod. And then let's fill in our fireplace. This fireplace is from the Cozy Home mod, and it's one of my favorites. It is literally just the perfect little fireplace. Now let's place our couches, and to keep it looking a little bit more cluttered, I'm going to go for a double and a single, but make this one brown. Now we've got to figure out what to do around the edges. I think we need to go for something a little bit more asymmetrical to make it feel a bit more cluttered, so let's do that. And I'm going to do a couple cabinets right here and then make all of these shelves. And then over here I'm just going to do a little line of cabinets, and we'll cover this wall in some paintings in a second. Although I can place this one here because I think that's going to look cute when we have a little lamp and flower pot situation. And just like that, we have a really cute cozy living room. I managed to find this really cool globe in my crafts, which is just perfect for what we want to do here. And I opted to make this space a kitchen and dining room. Again, I used a bunch of flower boxes to get the sort of cluttered look. I also added some clutter to the tables and did a little mix of benches and chairs. And I also mixed up the cabinets and whatnot to just make it look a little bit more lived in. Oh wait, 1 second. I had some really cute lights here. I don't know why they've bugged out. 1 second. So with that fixed, that is our interiors done. And it is officially nighttime. So let's head to bed in our new cozy home. Okay, so the references of the actual Shire that I've been looking at have really cute gardens outside, so that is exactly what we're gonna do today. Starting by creating a little pathway with these mossy cobblestone, sorry, and these little path block things. And now I'm just gonna fill in these holes here with some coarse dirt just for a little bit of variation in the ground. For fencing, I'm just going to use some oak and we're going to leave a little gap here so we have a way in and out of the garden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get rid of this end one and create a sort of rounded garden situation. That is not what I wanted to do. Okay, that should be good for that side. Now let's get to work on this side. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap here and start this fence right here. And then just join this part up here. Okay, that should be good. I'm feeling like the easiest way to fill this garden is to just go crazy with the leaves. And it will help it sort of tie in with everything going up here. Now let's run around and add in some of these hanging flower pots on some of these fences here. And also some lanterns to light it up a little. I went ahead and mixed in some of these wheat areas just for aesthetic purposes, and I think it's safe to say that that's our gardens finished. Let's get ourselves to bed and head out for some more materials tomorrow. With my iron tools getting flimsy, I knew I needed to upgrade them. A bunch of diamonds, azalea leaves, stone, moss, and clay later, and I was heading back above ground. I collected spruce, oak, and dark oak. I then set about gathering a bunch of flowers, purple dye, and finally some terracotta. I also made sure to keep gathering wax for a project later. We did pretty well from the bread that we got from the village earlier, but that is starting to run out, so we're gonna need a farm pretty soon. I do have plans for a bigger one later, but we're going to keep this one relatively small just so we can move on with the next thing. Alright, that should be a decent enough size to get us going. So let's add in some little details around the edge and then we can plant all of our wheat. Let's do a little mix of these slabs with mossy cobblestone bricks, again from the chipped mod. And I'm just trying to place these kind of randomly, but also in a way that still looks intentional. Okay, actually that looks a little bit weird being so tall, so I'm just going to take those out and switch this one for the stair, and hopefully that looks a little bit better. Okay, yeah, definitely prefer that. Now let's just quickly add in a couple lanterns and we should be good to go with the planting. Honestly, I don't know where I'd be without my trusty Meadows watering can because, well, actually I do know where I'd be. I would be, probably dead, honestly. This thing has saved me in so many situations and also saved me a lot of time with these 100 days challenges. Aside from being able to get a lot of seeds easily, it's really great to just be able to have your crops grow in as quickly as this. Otherwise, I'd be waiting until tomorrow or maybe the next day to get enough wheat to make a lot of bread. So now that the wheat is all grown in, we can just run along, grab literally all of it, and then do it all again until we have enough bread to last us a while. So we have hit the point in the video where I cannot ignore the amount of junk that we have accumulated any longer, so let's get started on digging our second hobbit hole of the video. And if you didn't guess, this one will be for our storage room. Alright, that's the outline done. Let's get this bolt removed. Okay, that's looking pretty good, and we have plenty of time to also do the floors today. So let's dig out a little bit of area for the floors, and then we'll fill this in with some spruce planks, maybe? I don't know why I'm questioning it. Of course I'm going to use spruce planks. All right, let's get this thing filled in. And now we have somewhere to stand and a little bit of the day left. Let's also get the ceiling in. So I'm pretty much just going to mirror the floor onto the ceiling and we'll pretty much be done here. Or at least for this project, maybe? At least for this part of the project. I think that's what I was trying to say. Now that should make it much easier to do the frames and the walls tomorrow. I'm definitely going to get some frames sorted so that I have a guideline for all of my rooms, especially because I want some space to fit an enchanting setup in here. So let's get all of these frames done. But I guess in this instance, they're more like supports. But whatever, it's the same thing. Okay, I was gonna say done, but actually I think I'm gonna move these posts out one and then add in another post in the center here. I think that's gonna look a little bit better. Okay, yeah, definitely prefer that. So with that done, let's get to work on our entrance. So I'm gonna create 3 circles for this one, and hopefully it comes together super nicely, and also hopefully I've spaced this out correctly. Okay, that's the 2 easy circles done. Now I've got to figure out how to do this big middle one. So if I do these stairs like that, this feels like such a large gap, but I think if we use some trapdoors, maybe we can close it up a little more. And then let's add in another trapdoor here and here. And we should be able to make it look a little bit more normal with these slabs. Okay, that still looks really strange actually. I think what I'm gonna have to do is maybe bring that into there and then move all of this across so that it all matches up. Okay, let's try this again. So I'm thinking stairs here and that there. And then I'm gonna bring the stairs down here. Just like that. Get rid of that, add in our trapdoor. Add the stairs the other side, add in our other trapdoor. This still feels wrong, because why is there a gap here? I think I may have made a miscalculation somewhere, but I'm just gonna go with it. Oh no, okay, I've realized what I've done here. What I did was I moved this middle bit over 2 blocks this way when I should have moved it just 1 block this way and then moved this one in one and this one in one. So now I basically have to take down the whole thing and do it again. Bear with me. Whew, okay, finally we have got the right thing going on, and of course it doesn't look that much different, but I promise you it's now in the right space. So now we can get to work on covering up this back bit. Let's use a little mix of these mossy cobblestone blocks and then some normal stone blocks and some stone bricks. Okay, perfect. Now let's get inside and quickly add in those walls before the sun goes down, which should be an easy task. Then again, the entrance should have been an easy task too, so we'll see. Just like we did in the house, I'm going to run around and add in these spruce blocks that kind of look like paneling. Then for our walls, instead of a concrete and wool mix, we're going for a terracotta and wool mix. And of course, this one is purple and not green. Just in time for the sun to go down. Which means it's also time to head to bed so we can head out for some more materials tomorrow. I started by repairing my tools and gathering a lot of copper, which I let weather. I then topped off all of my woods, gathered more wheat and carrots, and picked up more flowers. I gathered everything I needed for bookshelves, and the last of my wax as well before heading back underground. I topped off my iron, coal, stone, azalea leaves, and clay. Then I gathered diorite, calcite, lapis, and bones for dye, moss, and obsidian for an enchant table. Lastly, I waxed my copper and snagged some more terracotta. And we're back. Today we're going to finish off the storage area by doing all of the exterior details. And again, we only really have one outside face to this building, so we're going to have to make it count. Alright, that dark oak plank line is now framing our entrance a little bit better. Let's add in a couple windows here and some trapdoors for details. Then let's add in our spruce door and a little bit of spruce detailing around the door. Then finally, let's add in a little bit of lighting, and I guess we should probably add a little bit of a garden outside of this one too. Let's keep this one a little bit smaller though. And just like we did over on our house, let's add in a bunch of leaves in the garden and also all over the roof of this thing, if you can call it that. Then finally we need to add in a little bit of coarse dirt for some variation in the ground, and also a mini pathway like we had outside of our house. And that's our little storage structure complete. Now it's time for the interiors, and if you know me, you know I absolutely love interiors because they are just so relaxing to do. Also, I played that unpacking game recently, and that also really scratched that itch for me. Anyways, here's where I landed with the interiors for this one. So we have this really cute enchanting setup. Am I gonna use it? No, because I don't have any lapis. Then I have this little storagey type area here with a little stool and some books that I've been reading, and of course a clock so that we can keep track of the time. Then over here we just have a bunch more storage and a little bit more clutter with the flowers and the books, and I guess my idea here was that it would be a nice little reading nook type building, maybe? I don't know, but this might be one of my cutest storage/enchanting areas ever. Okay, I genuinely just stood here watching the clock to see if it changes, and it does, and I think it's accurate. Would you say this is 9 PM? I feel like it could be. 9 PM in the winter, maybe. Also, if you're wondering, this clock is from the Cozy Home mod. Absolutely stunning. But let's get ourselves to bed. So we have our cute hobbit holes, but I fear that I have neglected the outside space a little bit too much. So we're gonna see if we can fix that by adding in a fire pit. So the floor of that is pretty much done. I'm just going to add in some extra pieces of coarse dirt here for a little bit of variation. Then we can get to work on the actual fire pit. Instead of creating little chairs, I feel like having just the oak logs will give the more hobbity vibe. So that's what we're going to do here. Now for the actual fire pit, I'm obviously going to use a campfire, then a spruce slab on each side, and then a spruce pressure plate on these parts here. Then since I have a few left over, I'm going to place some on here just to get a little bit of variation on the logs. That's obviously looking really adorable now, but it's just missing a little something. That's right, leaves. It's missing a lot of leaves. So let's just cover this thing in leaves, and then hopefully that'll be this finished. Okay, this is everything. How adorable is this looking so far? I do think we need to do something with this farm though, or at least add something a little bit bigger. I am a little bit sad about the logs though, because we can't sit on them with the sitting mod. The only thing that we can sit on here is the slabs, and I've got a feeling we might burn our toes a little bit with that. Now, I don't know how familiar you guys are with The Lord of the Rings, but hobbits tend to be quite big farmers. And I know we have our small farm here, but I do want to make a much larger one, like I mentioned yesterday. I think that's a decent outline for where I want to put the farm. I'm just going to run back down and add in some more of these walls because I kind of want there to be a little pathway that runs through the middle. I think we're going to add in some of these walls about here. Then let's also add in another load of walls about here, and then obviously the path will run straight down here. And finally, I think we just need to run along the edge of the shoreline here and wall it up. Alright, we have the walls in place and all of our little water holes, and now we should get started on adding in our farmland, but the sun is going down and I've got a feeling it's going to get pretty dark pretty quickly, but we'll just see how far we get with this and then we can do the rest tomorrow. And just as suspected, we didn't have quite enough time to do all of the tilling. Let's get ourselves to bed before anything scary comes to get us. Okay, it felt like we got quite a lot done yesterday, but still have quite a lot to go. I feel like builds like this really make your area feel more like a world rather than just some like structures floating around in space, you know? It's also a really good way to fill in some space without having to do anything really crazy. With all of that land tilled, let's get down there and add in a little bit of a path. So I'm gonna run around and just randomly make this dirt path, and then whatever's left over I'm gonna dig out and replace with coarse dirt. I was thinking about adding something a little bit more like a cobblestone type path or something, but I feel like this just fits the vibe of a farm way more. Alright, looking good. So we should be good to start planting our crops now, and just for aesthetic purposes I'm gonna add carrots in this front part right here, and then the entire back part is gonna be wheat. Once the carrots are all safely planted, I turned my attention to laying down all of the wheat seeds, racing the sun as it dipped below the horizon. So before I went to bed last night, just about halfway in here, I decided to add a cute street lamp with Sam's quote on it because I absolutely couldn't skip that. It is so precious. Now, today I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of paths, just connecting everything that we've done so far, then we can see what else we can do tomorrow. Usually I save all of the path work for the very end of the build, but don't worry, that definitely doesn't mean that we're anywhere near close to done just yet. I just wanted to get everything we've already placed joined up to help get a better vibe for the area as a whole, and it really helps tie things together and make it feel a lot less like a bunch of random builds and more like an actual lived-in space. Like, we've been here a while now, traveling back and forth, creating a nice trodden path. And if I'm being honest, there may be something I'm procrastinating on a little bit right now, so adding some paths is my way of being productive and temporarily avoiding a looming project. We'll call it multitasking, right? So now with all of our path blocks down, I do want to add in some of these textured floor blocks. I guess they're called path blocks, so textured paths, just to make this look a little bit more cohesive with the rest of the paths that we've done here. And it adds a nice little bit of dimension to the floor. So now with those paths and the farm finished, the area is looking pretty good. Now I've got to get myself prepared for a pretty big project tomorrow. So, voiceover M here because this build was a big fat pain. If you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, you'll know that when Gandalf comes to the Shire, Merry and Pippin break into his firework stash. I literally love those guys so much you don't understand. They are hilarious. But anyways, they set off this gigantic dragon firework that sets off mass panic at Bilbo's birthday party. Iconic, right? But I decided that I wanted to kind of pay homage to that, as well as adding something more visually interesting a bit higher up. The way these hobbit holes are dug into the ground, all of the builds end up staying pretty low to the ground, hence a dragon. Anyways, I think I rambled enough, but let me know down in the comments if you'd want a giant dragon firework at your birthday party. So, what do you guys think? Looks, incredible, right? Okay, so I'm hoping the dragon does actually look really cool, but I have the lovely task, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I have the lovely task of having to get rid of all of this dirt before we can get down. I think I'm gonna have to go along this way, and then I'll have to build up and get rid of this tower here afterwards. Oh my goodness, look at the shadow of this thing. And also look at Millie, taking a little nap around a daisy. How adorable is that? Okay, I'm really excited to see this thing properly from down here, and hopefully it looks really cool. Alright, moment of truth. Oh wait, oh my goodness. That actually looks so sick. Oh my. Okay, this might be one of the coolest things I've ever built. Also, it wasn't directly intentional, but it is kind of reminding me of the dragon from Spirited Away, but that's just because of the colorway that I chose here. You guys have absolutely no idea how happy I am that that worked out, because I was going a little bit crazy whilst trying to build that. Okay, now we get to head inside and wait for the sun to go down and have a little break by collecting a bunch of new materials tomorrow. The next day, I set out on a quest for some more wool and some pink dye, as well as oak and spruce. I then headed underground for azalea leaves and iron and coal. So I feel like at this point, not building Millie her own hobbit hole is kind of criminal. I mean, she's a fox. Foxes already live in holes, and it would be such a wasted opportunity to not do it. So let's get this thing dug out, and you can help with this one, Millie. Right, what do you think, Mills? Do you reckon that's enough space? I reckon it is too. Now let's take what we learned from doing our second hobbit hole and do the flooring and the ceiling before we do the frames. So I think for the ceiling, I'm gonna have to build this part out a little bit and then just get rid of all of this and then truss the leaves later to cover all of this up. Okay, I got rid of some of the dirt here. Now let's add in our little entrance. And I'm gonna use oak for this one because we use spruce with all of the others, and I just wanna mix it up a little bit. That looks really nice and contrasts with the dirt a little bit better than the spruce does, but let's get ourselves inside and add in some frames. So I think I'm just gonna have to add in this oak right here and right here because I don't want to take up too much of the wall space. And speaking of walls, let's get these things filled in. So I'm going to use the oak version of the paneling type blocks that we have from the chipped mod. And then we're going to use some pink wool in the center of each of these. And some of this chipped mod pink wool for the rest of them. To be honest, I should probably alternate that so it doesn't look so... I don't know what the word is, but I hope you know what I mean. And you know what? I just realized I forgot some stuff, so we've got to head out for some more materials. I headed out in search of a cherry grove for some wood and some pink petals. From a village, I snagged some more hay bales for bread and then set about collecting a bunch of grass with my shears before making my way home. So since we used oak for our entrance here, I'm going to go in and add some spruce to sort of frame it. Frame the entrance. That doesn't really make sense, but you guys know what I mean, right? Then let's bring out the sides of this bit just like this and add some palisades underneath. Melly, if you could not do that, that would be great. I know I'm building your house, but like, just give me a second. Okay, it's a little bit strange that that's floating, but I don't mind it that much. It might actually look a bit better if we take away this bit and just add in some normal spruce logs in this gap. You could move out the way, Millie, thank you. And let's make sure that's stripped so that it blends in with everything else. Now I just need to finish off adding in these walls here, so let's just do a couple of these. Then we'll do a single wool up here and then some of that. And I'm gonna have to make myself another load of this just so I can place 2 pieces here, so bear with me. Alright, perfect. Now I know it seemed a bit silly going all the way to a cherry grove just to grab a single door, but I feel like it was 100% necessary. I did also get some pink flowers from the floor there, so it wasn't just for one thing. I feel like it's fine. Now, of course, like the other 2 hobbit holes, we do need to cover this thing in leaves, and I don't really care to cover up too much of this whole roof situation, but I do want to make it look a little bit more intentional. Actually, let me take that off and add in some spruce trapdoors just for extra dimension up here. Okay, it needs a little more leaf, I think. Something a bit taller right here. So now with all of our leaves in place, I've added a couple spots of coarse dirt so that we can add in some of these pink petals. And I don't want to spread them too far because I am going to add a path that goes from this house to all of the other places. So I don't want to have to remove them and replace them and stuff when I get to that point. So I'm just going to place a few of these around the front here where I know the path isn't going to go. And that might be the last step of Millie's Hobbit hole. Oh my goodness. Okay, that is actually really, really cute. And it looks like that sun is going down. So let's get ourselves to bed and we'll do the interiors tomorrow. What do you think, Mills? She loves it so far. Oh, I'm stuck on the door. Doing interiors on builds for Millie always feels so funny because I always ask myself, what would a fox need in her house? And then I remember that that is an insane line of thinking. But of course, it's still super fun to do, even when it is a small space. And I think we are done here. Short but sweet. I added a nice little cooked chicken to the wall because I feel like Millie would really like that. Although she would probably prefer a live one to be running around. What do you think, Mills? Okay, cool. She loves it. I repaired my tools for the last time and grabbed some moss, stone, iron, coal, and azalea leaves. I then headed back above ground for coarse dirt, spruce, oak, and oak saplings before heading home. So something we don't have but should have given all the farming going on around here is a well. So let's start by digging down a 3x3 hole right here. Millie, it would have been better if you didn't follow me down here because now I'm not sure how you're going to get out. Because me, I can just do this. But you, not so much. Let's do a little staircase situation and I'm going to have to do something like this to fix that. Okay, Mills, please don't go back down into the hole. Actually, I need to take out all of the sides of the walls too because I need to fill those in with some cobblestone and whatnot so it actually looks like a well and not just a big hole in the ground. And yes, I did just see Millie go down there. And no, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do to stop her from doing that in the future because she's probably just going to keep jumping down there. I'm going to have to add a ladder or something so she can get herself out. Alright, now that's dug out, let's fill it in. And I'm hoping that as I build up, Millie will just naturally follow me. But what I think is going to happen is that as I'm placing these blocks, she's going to jump up with me and probably take a few with her. Oh, okay, I'm moving out the way. Just waiting for her to jump immediately back down into the hole. What is wrong with you, girl? Millie, if you could get out of that hole, that would be incredible. Thank you. She is such a menace sometimes. Okay, stay there. Now jump up with me. And please get out of there. Thank you. And I've got a feeling she's just going to jump right back down again. But our next step here is to add in some stairs. So let's just do stairs right here. Add in some posts in the middle here. Then we'll just do a couple more stairs either side. And then add some... Okay, I think that one was my fault, Mills. I'm sorry. I just pushed her into the hole. I will get her out in a second. Just bear with me. We just got to add these posts right here. And, how do I do this? I think I'm going to have to take away this step here. Then we'll do this, this, and this. Okay, we're going to leave that open for now. Then Millie can just go up and down as she pleases. Then once we're done with this thing, we can add the water in and hopefully she stops jumping down there. So if that's all done, let's build up these sides. So we're going to go up 2 with these oak fences, and then on top of the oak fences, we're going to do hoppers. Then either side of the hoppers, we're going to do some oak trapdoors and cover this with some spruce planks. Or spruce slabs, sorry. I always get those mixed up. Now let's add in a cross just like this, add another slab there, and then a spruce fence on top. Then we we just need to add in a few of these leaves, and we're going to have to take out some of these pieces to be able to place the leaves in these parts. To finish off the roof, we're going to add in some spruce slabs. What am I talking about? These are spruce trapdoors, but we're going to add some spruce trapdoors in these corners here, and then we can get to work on the actual inside of the well. Oh, actually, after we place all of this coarse dirt. We've got our water in, so now let's add our hanging cauldron, and that should be our well finished. Oh, actually, let's do the cauldron on this level. Oh, wait, no, I lied. Oh. Okay, well, we're going to have to go down and get that because I don't have another one. Then let's fill that up with water. And just like that, we have a really, really cute little well that we can make all of our wishes in. And hopefully Millie won't jump into it. Now, of course, this wouldn't be much of an end build without putting myself through the mild suffering that is custom trees. Don't get me wrong, I love how they look once they're done. They just make the whole space feel way more cozy and tie everything together in a way that no other decoration really can. But actually building them, that is a whole different story. So with that in mind, I spent the next few days doing what I do best, placing logs, placing leaves, and slowly losing my grip on reality. I started with the trunks, which as always are deceptively annoying, trying to get them to look natural but still shaped how I want without going completely wonky. I was aiming for something a bit more whimsical than my usual oak style custom trees, but still sticking to the same general method, trunk, then branches, then leaves. And let's talk about the branches for a second, because I feel like no one talks about how hard those are to actually get right. Like too few and your trees look like broomsticks, and too many and suddenly it's a tangled mess. It's a fine line between wild and natural and oops, I've accidentally built a broccoli, but I think I found a good middle ground. Then of course the leaves. So many leaves. They're technically easy because it's mostly just spamming and hoping that it looks good, but it's also the part where I start to feel like I'm stuck in a time loop where I'm just infinitely placing leaves. I feel like I get some kind of leaf-induced deja vu after a while, but at the same time, there's something weirdly peaceful about it. Like, brain off, just me and my tree. Anyways, the trees got done, my hands were tired, and the whole area looked so much better for it. Would I do it again? Yes, and will I complain about it the entire time next time? Also yes. I just feel like it's an M trademark at this point to have a huge custom tree monologue. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the custom trees. Yippee! I am so glad those are done, and I'm so glad that they look awesome. So we obviously already have some paths, but I am going to go through and just do another pass and make sure that everything else is connected. Sorry, the word just left my head for a second there. I'm also going to add in a little bit of fence details and of course some flowers. Alright, that is the paths done, so now let's add those fences I talked about. Oh, and that is facing the wrong way and also the wrong type of fence. So I'm going to do a little mix of the fence gates and the normal fences. Let's do a little zigzag moment right here, and then let's do the same on this side. Then let's add a little bit of fence over here, and a little bit of extra fence over here. Stunning, amazing, gorgeous. Let's get some flower pots on these things. Now today is all about lighting. We already have a few sort of lanterns hanging about, but we're going to do something a little bit more intentional today. Okay, that is the lighting done, and I definitely overestimated how many lanterns I would need to do that. So, I guess I'm gonna go put these away into my storage and pretend I didn't make this many. And finally, it's that time of the video where I go through and wrap absolutely everything up nice and neat with the final details. Which for this one basically means just planting a bunch of oak trees to fill in all of the gaps between our big custom trees, and also adding in a bunch of leaves around the fences. And I think it's safe to say our own little shire is complete. As the sun rose on our cozy little hobbit home, Emily and I headed out to have elvensies overlooking the steadily swaying crops in the farm. I knew I had done our job. From our quaint and cozy hobbit holes to the dragon and the farms. I can't think of a better hobbit base. My name is Em, this is Millie, and you have all been amazing. Thank you so much for watching, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.